All right, it's time for this day in history, and we go back in time to April 23rd, 1985, the day Coca-Cola introduced an updated and sweeter version of its flagship beverage, changing a secret formula first introduced in 1886. The product, it was officially called Coke, but the CEO at the time, Roberto Goizueta, insisted that the pop can display a banner with the word new on the side, and thus the unofficial moniker of New Coke became de facto official. Now, to say that the CEO was proud of the pivot would be an understatement. In interviews at the time, he called New Coke smoother and rounder and the boldest marketing move in the history of the consumer goods business. Those consumers, they couldn't have disagreed more. They flooded the company with angry phone calls and letters. They poured New Coke into street gutters in public protest. They booed when New Coke advertisements flashed on sports stadium scoreboards. They even went so far to form a group called the Old Cola Drinkers of America and filed a class action lawsuit. That lawsuit was dismissed. Everyone was piling on. Cuban dictator Fidel Castro threw shade, calling New Coke a sign of capitalist decadence. The Pepsi president, Roger Enrico, he dubbed New Coke the Edsel of the 1980s, referring to Ford Motors' of course famous car design that flopped decades earlier. Now, to be fair, New Coke was hardly the only major product launched to fall flat. Remember Sony Betamax, the Apple Newton, McDonald's Arch Deluxe? Even Coke's main competitor had its own comeuppance in the 1990s after failing to convince the world it needed Crystal Pepsi in their lives. Now, oddly enough, New Coke, it was actually kind of good for the company's bottom line. At the time, cola sales industry-wide were slumping, and Coke had been steadily losing market share to Pepsi. In fact, sales of Coca-Cola overall actually rose 8% after the new formula's debut. But executives, they were growing too concerned about the public backlash and the effect on its brand reputation. So 3 months after the debut, Coca-Cola did an about-face. Just 3 months had passed, or 79 days to be precise, when the company put the original formula back on the shelves, rebranded as Coca-Cola Classic. Senator David Pryor of Arkansas hailed it as a meaningful moment in U.S. history. Now, that might be overstating it just a bit. As for New Coke, it did live on for a while. Renamed Coke 2, it was sold in smaller and smaller quantities over the years until finally being discontinued back in 2002. And the company itself has actually embraced the missteps, briefly reviving New Coke back in 2019 for a promotion with the Netflix series Stranger Things. And on its website, it even pokes fun at itself, tongue-in-cheek, saying, to hear some folks tell it, April 23rd, 1985 was a day that will live in marketing infamy.